Welcome to CEO Insights Asia Executive Series, Principles of Scaling. Welcome to CEO Insights Asia Executive Series, Principles of Scaling. Is the strongest enterprise are those that constantly evolve. It's no longer the game of how big you are, but now the game is how big your ecosystem is.
Now, but I think this really speaks volume why we're attracted to hang out with one another. Like for example, in CEO Insights Asia, I really like spending time there because I'm surrounded with like-minded people. So,
All right, all right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning, fellow CEOs. How are you doing today? Kamusta ang linggo ninyo? Yan. Hope you are doing good and everything is in our favor. Ano? And kung hindi man, alam ko may mga workaround tayo dyan para yung goals natin, weekly goals natin, makuha pa rin natin. And yeah, before anything else, before we start, my name is Roel, founder and CEO of GUp Digital Marketing Solutions, your host for today. So, ano bang pag-uusapan natin? Ayan, naka-flash sa screen natin. It's all about preview. Alright. So, bakit ba natin to ginagawa every Friday? Itong sessions na to. Just a quick reminder bakit natin to ginagawa. We want na ma-install yung DNA principles that magagamit natin sa pag-scale up ng organizations natin. And faithful na nangyayari to every Friday at 10 a.m. Umulan, umaraw, holiday, regular day, basta mangyayari to every Friday, and we want to strengthen the DNA principles para ma-apply natin sa araw-araw nating ginagawa at araw-araw nating operations. So sa lahat ng mga participants dito sa Zoom, 15,000 na tayo. At yung mga nasa Facebook dyan, ano pang hinihintay nyo? Join in na dito sa ating Zoom. 2022 na, kalahati na ng 2022. Let's interact with each other na, guys. So that yung mga principles dito, magkaroon tayo ng interactions. Join na kayo dito and for us to gain at least one principle lang, one insights lang that you can immediately apply and execute within your organization and day-to-day operations. Alright? So, ano ba yung theme natin today? Our theme for today is all about strategy, and we're now focusing on missional, the operating and in excellence, progressing in experience, and thinking in generation. Diba? Napaka-timing sa ating mga CEOs. Diba? So, yeah. Ayan. Just an overview kung ano yung mga usapan natin dito within the month of June. Last week, pinag-usapan natin yung path. Alright? Medyo tumagal yung circle meeting namin dahil sa topic na to. Kami yata yung title holder. Ang dami namin napag-usapan tungkol sa strategies. What it is and what it is not. And then today we are talking about preview. Next week we are talking about the pause, which is I'm very excited. Kailangan natin to. And then for the last week of June, prepare. All right. So ayan, quick announcement lang. All right. Quick announcement. Circle meetings, okay, happens every Tuesday. Ako pala yun nandito. Circle meetings happens mainly every Tuesday, okay, at 11 a.m. Pero dahil dumarami tayo, alright, dumadami ang mga CEOs na nag-share, nag-i-interact with each other. CEO Insights Circle meetings happens from Monday to Thursday na. And you can choose kung anong mga circle meetings na gusto mong salihan. Like kila Sir BK of Sellers Hub, We Trade, kila Ma'am Mel dyan sa Gramworth, and all other circles na actually marami pa. Wala lang sa listahan, hindi lang naka-flash sa screen. Marami pang circle meetings na nangyayari. The link will be flashed here or will be sent here sa ating Zoom. And kung di naman, andun sa ating page, sa Facebook page natin, CEO Circles, CEO Insights Asia. Ayan. Alright, ano ba yung mga experience ng mga CEOs na nagjo-join dito sa CEO Insights Asia? Please watch this video.
Hi guys, Roel here of GF Digital Marketing Solutions. If you are a president, founder, or CEO of your company, whether small or full enterprise na yan, I highly encourage you to join us in CEO Insights Asia. Well, ano ba yung napapala ko sa platform na ito? Well, number one, recharge and energize. As a business owners, minsan nakakalimutan na natin na may buhay beyond our business at hindi lang puro numbers. CEO Insights Asia serves as a reminder that we are human beings and we need to grow. Right? Number two, I got to learn from the deeply rooted insights and based on the real experience of seasoned CEOs. Bakit pa natin pahihirapan ng mga sarili natin kung pwede naman mag-aral sa experience ng mga CEOs, right? Number three, network is your network. I got to stick and hang around with visionary people and yung mga taong iniisip na yung beyond themselves kasi they have a lot to pour from their cup na. And hope to see you every Friday and Tuesday at 11 a.m. Pag-uusapan natin dito mga bite-sized principles na actionable, practical kung pang ma-apply right away sa business. If you want to be a great leader or CEO, join us in our circle. See you.
Ayun. Ako pala yun nandun, ano? So, ayan. Very excited na i-share sa inyo kung ano yung mga napapala natin or ano yung meron sa CEO Insights Asia. Well, it's actually dynamical. Hindi lang ako yung natututo, pero ako rin, minsan may mga principles or may mga insights din ako na na-i-share ko. And everybody, nagkakaroon ng nagkakaroon ng synergization or synergies between the CEOs. So, ayan. So, ang hirap pa naman yung mga highlight. Ang hirap na ng spotlight. Ayan, so yeah, another big announcement. This is Sir AJ Araneta, Director of Partnership. And meron siyang he's a founder and CEO of Payrun. It's actually a platform or services, product and services na all about accounting, all right, and payments. And paano ba siya nag-work? And how amazing it is. So let's watch this video, how it's working.
Did you know there's an app to manage your postal mail? I mean, nowadays we have an app for almost everything. Going to the grocery, there's an app for that. Hailing a cab, there's an app for that. There's an app for that. Alexa, send follow-up email to supplier.
Okay, send me.
Managing your postal mail, there's an app for that. Anytime mailbox, you get an all-in-one app to manage your mail. You get so many benefits with opening an Anytime Mailbox virtual mailbox because it's about taking the postal mail you still get and making it easy to manage, all with a few taps on your phone. Sound like the solution you've been looking for? Check it out now at anytimemailbox.com.
Alright. So yeah. Di ba amazing, di ba? Minsan yung mga payments natin and all that, ang hirap na i-track. Hindi na natin alam kung saan napupunta yung mga payments and all that. Ang hirap mag-accounting. Lalo na fast-pacing tayo ngayon. And more of that, another big announcement. Sir AJ is giving free anytime mailbox sa mga members ng CEO Insights, And the announcement or kung mga further details about this will be announced sa mga circles natin, sa mga circle meetings natin. So if I were you, join the circle meetings na para if you want to avail din itong free service ni Sir AJ. So yeah. Another big announcement. All right. This CEO meetup will be happening on July 2022 sa Tagaytay. All right. So, guys, this is something na hindi mo dapat ma-miss, yung mga meetup kasi dito talaga nagkakaroon ng instant mastermind. Okay? Nagkakaroon ng collaborations. Yung energy so much na talagang every corner, lahat ng lahat ng pupuntahan mo, wala kang choice kundi umangat. Parang ganyan. Mag-share ng ideas and all that. Magtulungan. Ayan. So guys, further announcement for this CEO meetup will be announced din sa mga circle meetings natin. Alright. So yeah, Huwag na natin patagalin, ano? Very exciting at saka sobrang meaty talaga ng mga topic natin for this month and for this week particularly. Without further ado, announce ko na yung ating host for today, ang ating faculty for today, the one and only, one of the founder and executive advisor, CEO Whisperer, Mr. Florentino A. Hernando. Woo!
Alright! Good morning, everyone! Maraming salamat, Ruel. Pinakyaw na! Diba? Siya ang circle meeting, siya ang video. Anyway, thank you so much. A lot of things has been happening as you can see naman, no? Si AJ, our Director of Partnerships, is offering free booking and accounting services for official members of CEOInsight Asia. The details, i-echo ko lang, no? The details will be discussed in your circle meetings kung how to avail that. At the same time, yung anytime mailbox, ang maganda rito, pwede mong i-address yung business mo sa BGC. Naps! Di ba? Pero wala ka namang opisina sa BGC. Di ba? So lahat ng mail na ipapadala sa'yo doon, dadalhin ni anytime mailbox sa kung saan ka talaga. So you will have a very nice address, di ba? When you're dealing with businesses, you're very professional, but at the same time, hindi ka naman talaga expensive kasi you're not really there. So that's one of the services, and a lot of things has been happening behind the scenes now. So si AJ is also named a certified great place to work for November 2021 to 2022, and he's been doing a lot of things behind the scenes. He's the one behind itong Zoom natin, itong registration natin, yung accounting natin. Basically, it's all run by Payrun. Ayan, so if you want to avail their services, alam nyo na kung anong gagawin nyo. Attend lang kayo ng circle to get the details. Okay, what else? Ang wag na wag mamimiss, di ba? Nag-level up tayo. From Molino, Bacoor, we trade ang first CEO meetup ngayon. Tagaytay na, matindi to. Very exciting ang mga nangyayari sa atin. So last event, we've been attended by around 50 plus business leaders and CEOs, startup entrepreneurs, mostly e-coms, investors, venture builders, nagsama-sama ron. Meron pa nga doon, first time lang nagka-meet talaga, no? And it's very exciting. So, anong mga requirements doon? Just show up. Di ba? Attend lang kayo ron. Sabihin nyo lang na you'll be joining, and bahala na kayo sa buhay nyo. Malalaki na kayo. Di ba? Walang uwi. Oo. Ayan. Medyo kinain yung parking natin ng huling CEO meetup eh. So, ito, medyo maluwag-luwag naman tayo. Anyway, so, yeah. Fast forward na tayo. Preview. Yan ang pag-uusapan natin today. And just to formally once again introduce myself, we have 20,000 participants here at Zoom, and for the Facebook Live, please join us so we'll have much more interaction. Ayan, so my name is Florentino A. Hernando, or people call me by my initials, which is FA. I'm one of the founders and the executive advisor of CEOInsight Asia, and our purpose in this ecosystem is infusing ideas that build lasting companies. No, so we're not just about scaling our businesses, but also sustaining the impact that we will be transforming our organizations, or learning how to build our organizations into something that we can transfer to our children and our children's children and to the next generation. Yan ang dahilan bakit tayo nandito. We want to build businesses or organizations that last. And we'll talk about that more later. All right. Sige, so agenda. Ano ba mga pinag-uusapan natin the past last week and then in the coming weeks this June. So magkakaroon tayo ng conversation starter. I'm not sure kung nandito si Jen. Jen, if you're here, kindly chat down. If not, si Jobs ang sasagot ng conversation starter mag-isa. Ayan, and then we'll do a quick recap para dun sa mga hindi naka-attend last week. We'll do a quick recap and please just watch the video. Ayan. We'll talk about defining milestone markers. We'll understand, or we'll talk about why it's very important to have milestone markers. We'll talk about components of a milestone marker courtesy of the late Peter Drucker. And then we'll get practical. So, for the 19,000, 20 na, kanina nawala yung isa, na-disconnect ata. Please chat down in the chat box. I am ready. If you are excited na pag-usapan na ang ating topic for today. Yan. Oh, Coach Ron, you're here. Yeah, si Jerome. Dalawang Jerome ba nandito? Ayan, si Jerome, si Frank. Oy, Chris of Global Port. Kaibigang oso natin yan. Yan. Nainitan ako, naligo muna. Ayan. Sige. Alright. Thank you, Rhea Garay. So, Jobs. Floor's yours. This is the question. What comes to your mind when you hear the word milestone marker? And I want to ask some engagement also para sa mga tao sa chat, sa Zoom na to. Please chat down. What comes to your mind when you hear the word milestone marker? So, Jabs, floor's yours.
Sir, good morning. Good morning po.
Good morning.
Sabi ko walang uuwi eh. Pero may lilipat yata sa Facebook.
Wala lilipat.
Walang lilipat. Ano ba? Milestone marker.
Yeah.
Ano lang sir, siguro one word, no? Parang ano to, legacy. Yeah.
Legacy. Ayan.
Oo.
Bakit naman legacy, sir?
Ano sir, siguro part ng tawag na ito, siguro yung values natin, no? Building institutions for legacy.
Ayan. Okay. So, it's all about legacy. You build institutions for generations to come. Sabi ni Christine Joy, game changer. Sabi ni Mel, photo ops, puro optics, puro papogi. Wag ganon. Ayan. So, milestone marker, ayan. Success indicator for achieving the goals. Yan ang mga sinasabi nila Ruel of G-Up. Thank you so much for the interaction. Sige, before we answer that question, pag-usap muna tayo on the past message or the past talk. No? Let's do a quick recap. We're focusing on this month about strategy. As mentioned, ilang minutes pa ba ako? Ayan, marami-rami pa. So, as mentioned last week, if last season, it was all about execution, it was the most emotionally intensive season. Okay? Ito namang season na to, itong strategy season, will be the intellectually exhausting season. Dahil kung last month, lahat tayo na high blood at yumaman ng mga tao dahil sa mga fish oil na pinag-iinom natin dito, yayaman ng mga restaurant dahil after neto nagugutom tayo eh. Ubos ang brain cells, pride. Alright, so let's talk about strategy, and we defined it, a daming definition about strategy, but we defined it simply as the how to achieve our goals. Okay, the purpose is the why an enterprise exists. The vision is what the organization looks like if it achieves its purpose. So we have the why, we have the what. Okay? Strategy is the how. Ito yung magbi-bridge sa atin from where we are right now to our vision. Now, how? There's plenty of ways. Actually, yun yung isang pinag-usapan natin last week. It's very challenging to come up with strategy for 3 reasons. Number 1, because of unclear description of strategy. Kasi hindi nga malinaw. When we talk about strategy, maraming strategy. Do we talk about corporate strategy? Do we talk about marketing strategy? Do we talk about global strategy? How about innovation strategy? Social media strategy? Talent strategy? And so on. So, ang daming, when we talk about strategy, ang dami niyang facets. Ang dami niyang types. So, when someone says, let's talk about strategy. What do you mean strategy? So, is it corporate? Is it global? Is it innovation? So, that's one challenge why it is difficult to come up with a strategy. The second is its complexity. Dahil when you have a corporate strategy, ang daming strategy, ang daming moving parts. So, you change one, you have to adjust to the rest. Diba? Kailangan i-adjust din natin yung iba. Yes? So far, so good? Please type yes if you can still follow. Review pa lang to, ha? Review pa lang to. Okay, so complexity and sa dami rin ng how, purpose, it's only one, di ba? We have one purpose. And then we have one vision. Once we achieve that vision, we change it to another one, but medyo may time frame yon. So largely, iisa lang ang purpose ng organization at ang vision. How, however, yung strategy, maraming paraan. Diba? At that's what makes it complex. Kasi maraming paraan to, it's like going to overseas. Diba? You're going to, let's say, Korea. Okay, maraming how. How do you go to Korea? Pwede mag-airplane, barko, gusto mag-barko. Maraming paraan. At just syempre, kailangan pa ng visa. Paano ka kukuha ng visa? Maraming paraan. Pwede ka mag-travel agency, pwede ka magkakilala, and so on. So it's very complex because it has a lot of moving parts. Okay? And last but not the least, it's ever-changing. And in a world that is shaken, not stirred, and change is in a head-snapping pace, 6 months is 6 years in certain industries. At mahirap mag-strategize for the long term. Diba? Hindi na siya nga long-term planning, guesswork na nga nangyayari because we don't know kung anong mangyayari in the next 3 months. Right? Second thing about strategy and is ever-changing is largely driven by external factors. Hindi tayo ang nagsasabi kung effective ang strategy natin. Market is king. Diba? Customer is king. It doesn't matter. Diba? Kahit pag gaano kaganda ang strategy natin, kung hindi binibili ng customer yan, doesn't work. Right? So, I was having a conversation with recently with a CEO, and I believe they fell in love with their product, ganda ng product nila. But when you ask, how many people are already purchasing your product, ang ganda ng features limited lang. So parang ang ending, it doesn't matter how good your product is if no one buys it. Diba? So ganun din sa strategy. No, it doesn't matter how good your strategy is if the market isn't buying it. So that's the challenge. Diba? Purpose tayo magdidikta niyan. Ito ang gusto ko maging purpose ng organization. Vision, ito yung gusto ko mangyari in the next 5 years. How to do that, hindi tayo kaya natin sabihin, ito ang plano ko, pero ultimately, it is the market who will dictate whether it's effective or not. So far, so good. Please type so good if you can still follow. Yan. Okay, wala na. Ayun, alright. Okay, sabi nga ni philosopher Mike Tyson, di ba? Everyone has a strategy until they get punched in the face. Ang ganda ng strategy finormulate nung November sa what do you call this? Sa strat plan. Only to end up being hit in the face by the reality of the marketplace. Hindi effective to. So, it goes out of the window. Okay. So, just to, in a world that's ever-changing, we need to anchor into something that is timeless. And the definition of purpose, strategy, and vision, it will never change. Okay? So, kailangan may aankoran tayo. Something that will never change. And the first one is purpose. The purpose, the reason why an enterprise exists, that definition will never change. Okay? Goes the same with the vision. What the purpose looks like when it's achieved, it will never change. And the definition of strategy is believed as the best way to achieve the vision given this time frame. Kasi maaaring, as of now, we believe this is the best way to achieve the vision, and then tomorrow nagkaroon ng changes, so we need to pivot, which we'll talk about next week. But for now, this is the definition. Purpose, this is why we exist. Vision is what we want to accomplish in the next 5 years, 3 years. And then strategy is what we believe is the best way, best guess to achieve the vision. And then you break it down into years, and that's what you call milestone markers. Okay? So, yan ang pag-uusapan natin the next 40 minutes. But just to give you a background, meron tayo tinatawag na corporate strategy. That corporate strategy is broken down into milestone markers, which is also called short-term strategy. And then that short-term strategy will be broken down into different strategies for talent, recruitment, engagement, finance, business development, and so on. Right. So with that, here's a summary of last week's session. Purpose is expressed through vision. And the vision determines what the strategy will be. Okay? Kasi yun nga yung best way. We believe as the best way to achieve the vision. And the strategy dictates structure. Excuse me. Why am I saying this? Because where I come from, largely in the corporate world, the structure is copy-paste. Alam ko yan. Teacher ako Diba? Ganito ang style niyan. May tatawag sa HR network, mga kakilalang HR. May org chart ka ba dyan? Kukopyahin ko lang, di ba? Guide as template. Tama ba? At ba si Joy? Tama ba? Relate? Di ba? So it's not really strategic management, it's copy-paste management. O ganito yung org chart ng competitor, kopyahin natin. Dapat may ganito rin tayo. It doesn't, that's not strategic management, that's copy-paste management. And that's not what we do here at CEOInsight Asia. Right? So purpose is expressed through vision. Vision determines strategy. Strategy defines structure. So now we're going to focus on this one. This is what you call the milestone markers. And so let's define What do we mean when we say milestone markers? So milestone markers is a key event or action in a project of your business journey that marks significant change of progress. Mouthful. Highlight ko lang yung very important dyan, and I will be asking the participants to chat it down. Yung highlighted red word. Ano daw yan? Please chat it down so we'll have engagement. Ayan. It is what? A significant stage. Okay? It is a stage in the journey of an enterprise towards its vision. Significant stage of what daw? Of progress. And it's very important that yung highlighted word dyan na progress when it comes to accomplishing something. It's very critical na malinaw kung ano yung progress natin. Okay? And not just progress, but significant stage. Why? So, let's talk about why milestone markers matter. They matter because number one, they determine progress. Ba? Para alam natin, when you're pursuing your journey something, magpapagod tayo eh. Dapat alam natin, asa na ba tayo? Diba? Magsusunog tayo ng kilay. We're gonna pour our heart and soul into accomplishing a vision that we believe is important personally and professionally. We have to know if tama ba tong landas na ginagawa natin o naliligaw tayo. Diba? So, milestone markers is an indicator of where we are vis-a-vis our vision. It will dictate kung asa na tayo at on what stage na tayo. Diba? Malayo pa ba? Or malayo talaga? Or ligaw na tayo? Without milestone markers, we wouldn't know. It's like Sisyphus. You're familiar with Sisyphus. The Greek god was punished to push a boulder up in a mountain. Diba? Itutulak niya yan. Ang ending lang nun is babalik yung mountain pagdating sa top, and he had to push it again for all eternity. Sometimes, if there's no milestone marker, and many companies don't have this, it feels like that. Papasok ako, 9 to 5, clock in. Diba? Parang, diba? Asan na ba tayo? Hindi ko alam. Diba? Naabot na ba natin yung pangarap natin? O naliligaw na tayo? Tama pa ba itong ginagawa natin? Baka hindi na tayo on track of our vision. So that's one powerful purpose of a milestone marker. It gives us a sense of progress, which leads to the second one. It directs pivot. Because without milestone markers, hindi natin alam, dapat bang mag-pivot na tayo, meaning change in direction, if there's no milestone marker? Or should we push through? Tama to, we're right on track. Without a clear roadmap towards the milestone marker, we'll get lost and we're going to waste a lot of resources and in a cash-starved situation right now. So, nakita ko yung memories ko ng 2016, ang gasolina 32 pesos. Di ba? 32! 2016! Gano'n ba gas dyan ngayon? Gasolina ko 85. My goodness! Di ba? Sarap. So, paalam muna Ferrari. Ayan, di ba? So, it shows if we need to pivot or not. So, we need to have an understanding of asa na ba tayo ngayon? Di ba? So, it dictates. One thing I love, I was working with the CEO and we talk about our executive advisory and how our executive advisory works. A lot of people ask, how does it work? How do you advise CEO? So, depends on the engagement with either weekly or twice a month or once a month. Doesn't really matter. It depends. But dun sa mga on a regular basis, ang sabi nga ng isang CEO na kausap ko, sabi niya, the beauty of this executive advisory is you can strategize weekly and pivot regularly. Dahil sa sobrang bilis ng nangyayari ngayon. Bilis ng change. So you can change, adjust as well. Imagine basketball. Diba? Talo ang Golden State kahapon. Okay. So imagine sa isang basketball, walang quarters, diba? Walang adjustments to talk about adjustments on how to proceed. It's not going to be as exciting and it's going to be a waste of time. All right, so directing pivot. The third one is it drives passion. Because once we see that, we're progressing, abot kamay na ang pangarap natin, mas ginaganahan tayong mag-effort. Yes? Tama? And without passion, we cannot accomplish our vision. Okay, please type that. Without passion, we cannot accomplish our vision. Para makita ko naman na may engagement tayo. Diba? Malalim ba? Yan. Without passion, we cannot accomplish our vision. Please shut it down. Ayan, salamat, Frank. Okay. So, di ba, whenever we see that we're getting closer to our goal, diba, we get much more excited. We pour in, we invest more. We pour more effort into it, which, in the end, because of that effort, mas lalo tayo nagpo-progress. It's what do you call this? It's a loop, di ba? Hindi, this Coach Ayet. Coach Ayet, shout out sa'yo. Yan, XED company, yan. Matindi yan si Coach Ayet. Six Sigma yan. Anyway, so yeah, it's all about driving the passion unleashes, having milestone marker unleashes our passion. We pour in more effort, and more effort enables us to progress. Diba? Ang sarap ng saying nito, lagi ko naririnig to sa circles natin, diba? Malayo pa, pero malayo na. Diba? Malayo pa ang kailangan puntahan, pero malayo nang narating. So those are the languages that we have in this ecosystem. Very exciting yung mga nangyayari. Okay, so as mentioned, it's a loop. It's a flywheel. We progress because of milestone markers. We see our progress. We're able to pivot. And because of pivoting, nakikita natin yung progress. It unlocks passion in us, investing more effort, which then enables us to progress even more. Yes? So far, so good. Diba? O, kaya pa. Uwian na. Ayan, sige. Okay, moving forward tayo. So, what are the components of a milestone marker? And I want to share this with the use of Peter F. Drucker as a backdrop, his story. And this is one of the most powerful stories that impacted me personally. And the late Peter Drucker, he died around 99 years old. And in one of he was so old back then, but he was still invited. And if you don't know Peter Drucker, my goodness, diba? Magbasa kayong libro. He is the father of modern management, and he has influenced a lot of CEOs. Even up to now, he's been dead for over, I think, more than 10 years. Diba? Yeah, 2000, early 2000, almost 20 years. But his teachings are still impacting a lot of companies. The way you operate right now, if you're part of this ecosystem and you're listening to this, it's largely influenced by Peter Drucker. Anyway, in his final, mga last few appearances publicly, because he was so old, he attended a conference, he got invited to do a Q&A, and he was wheelchaired in. And they did these are CEOs, these are business leaders, question and answer with Peter Drucker, and then there was a host. And then one question, may nagtanong doon. Sabi niya, Peter, what do you believe is the most important decision a leader will make? And it got stung quiet because everyone was waiting for his answer. So si Peter, he's very old. He was sitting in his chair, he was slumping in his chair, holding his hand. He closed his eyes, and then he bowed, like as if he was like praying. So he was thinking. Unfortunately, mga 3 minutes, 4 minutes na nakaganon pa rin siya. So parang it got kind of awkward, di ba? Awkward kasi parang nakatulog na ata ito. Matanda na si Peter Drucker nun eh. So the host was like parang nagkaroon ng prompting to poke him, di ba? Tignan natin kung buhay pa to, baka matay na to. So when he was about to poke Peter Drucker, Peter slowly raised his head, and then everyone was held in suspense. Parang, oh my God, he's gonna speak. Parang ganun yung feeling. Okay, and then when he opened his eyes, he just said 5 words that impacted me and a lot of CEOs here. 5 words. At ito ang sinabi niya, to answer the question, what is the most important decision a leader can make? A leader will ever make. Ito yung sagot niya. Who does what by when? And it's amazing how this phrase guides me in the way I operate. And he's been dead for like 20 years. I'm still learning from him. I'm still being guided from him. Imagine, it's amazing how a mentor can change your life in just 5 words and in just 30 seconds. So who does what by when? That is the most important decision for Peter Drucker, most important decision a leader will ever make. And using that story as a backdrop, okay, let's now talk about components of an effective milestone using Peter Drucker's story. Okay, what's the 3 fundamental components of an effective milestone marker? Number 1, there's a numerical outcome. It's very important na if you're in this ecosystem, numbers tayo dito. Wala tayong feelings. Diba? I mean, if you talk about something and there's no data to back it up, it's an opinion. And I say this, I believe Rodalyn Claire is here. So she's one of my teammates, she's my builder. Alam niya yan na if you come to me and you say about something and then you don't have a data, that's an opinion. And in my meetings, when you have an opinion, I'll always go with mine. Okay? So there has to be backed by data. There's a numerical outcome. Not effort, numerical effort. Numerical outcome. Kinakailangan malinaw for a milestone marker, it has to have a numerical outcome. Without numbers, it's all opinion, it's all feelings, it's subjective. At hindi tayo makakarating ng malayo doon, di ba? Feelings. Yeah. Right? So there has to be a numerical outcome when you're creating a milestone marker. Second, there has to be a specified timeline. Hindi pwedeng forever open-ended yan. Diba? Accomplish, diba? Improve performance. Okay, when? Diba? Parang, lalo na sa mga I hear this a lot when we're all about succession planning. Yan, when we're preparing for succession planning for an organization, and I ask the managers, the CEO, who will be your replacement in the next 3 years? Or who will be replacement? Maglalagay sila, kailan? Hindi pa ready eh. Kailan mari-ready? Di ba? Ano gagawin natin? Hindi pwedeng gano'n. It's not gonna fly. We have to come up with a timeline when they will be ready or not. Yes? Andiyan pa kayo? Yes? Kaya pa? Ayan. Please type yes if you're ready. Ayan. Thank you, Ray Garay. Ayan. Alright. So it has to be a specific timeline, and last but not the least, ito ang critical sa pool, di ba? Sa pool. Ito ang critical. There's a person accountable. Di ba? May mga kilala tayo sa mga social media, di ba? Post ng post, I love you, babe. Sabi ko, pangalanan mo si babe. Ang hindi pinapangalanan, maraming pinapatamaan. Wag ganon. Di ba? Pangalanan mo si babe. Yan. I go the same with the organization. Always sabihin, I'm gonna assign this to the marketing department, or I'm gonna assign this to the finance department. I love you, Mami Bubu. Ayan. So, dumaan yung asawa ko. Papangalanan natin yan. Anyway, okay. So, bibigay ko ito kay marketing, bibigay ko ito kay finance. Sino sa finance? I'm gonna give it to my team. Sino sa team? And we don't put departments, we don't put a title, supervisor. Sino supervisor? You put a name. Diba? So, that's components of an effective milestone marker. So, let's put some examples yan para the poorly designed milestone and properly designed milestone para may take home kayo. Okay? So, this one, improve sales performance. That's poorly designed. There's no numerical outcome, there's no timeline. How do you properly design that? Achieve 100,000. Be specific. Specificity is the soul of credibility. Okay? And specificity is the foundation of execution. You have to be very specific. Achieve 100,000 sales by June 30. Okay? So, may clear. May timeline. Sa FAQ, yan. Ayan na. Ito na yung mga si Chris, di ba? Nasa Facebook Live yan. Hindi ka makakailag, Chris. Shoutout sa kanya. Yan. A-attend ng graduation ng kanyang pamangkin na sinuportahan niya. Yan. So, shoutout to you. One of our executive council. Yan. So, improve sales performance. That's a poorly designed milestone. Put it in VNT. Naririnig niyo sa akin yan. Put in VNT. Ilang oras pa ba ako? Yan, may oras pa ako. Okay. Next, streamline operations. What does that mean? Let's make it proper by ensure zero machine downtime by July 1. How do you know if you've streamlined operations? Malinaw. Pag walang machine downtime by July 1. It's very clear. It's very specific. Yes? And last but not the least, strengthen brand awareness. I mean, come on. Diba? Ako, ma-high blood na naman ako. Ayoko mga diba? Kasi there are people, lalo na in the IT industry, mostly, not all many na nakakakilala. You can't measure creativity yan sa mga marketing, sa mga branding. You can't measure that, di ba? You can't measure art. It's not true. I can measure it. Nako. Moving on, okay. Pagdating sa bilangan, yan ang trabaho natin, okay? So, attain 2,000 new page followers by August. Diba? And hindi lang end of August, wag ganon. Diba? You have to be specific in the date. And if you're like BK, he's not normal, may oras pa. ako nga, wala ko oras eh. Ayan, sellers up, minumay yung mga yan eh. May oras pa, di ba? Ayan, so that's how you create a proper milestone. Okay, there's a verb, you start with the verb, you have a specific number, you have a task, and a timeline. Okay, so don't do this. Hey, VNT, yes. Don't do that. Do this. Yes? Oh, so you can screenshot this para naman meron kayong take home. At para doon sa mga nanonood sa Facebook, ay, yun na lang. Sige, moving on. Alright. So, park muna tayo, bottom line. Kumbaga, zoom out muna tayo. Okay? We'll shift gears a bit. Why are we doing these things? Why are we talking about leadership? Why are we talking about strategy? Why are we talking about VNT? Why are we talking about this? We're talking about this because the bottom line is we want performance as an organization. Yes, please type performance if agree kayo sa akin na kaya tayo uma-attend ng mga circles, kaya tayo uma-attend ng mga principles of scaling. It's all about high performance. Yan ang gusto natin mangyari sa organization natin. Kaya kailangan malinaw yung strategy so that we can create high performance. And to create high performance, it is a byproduct of high engagement. Talk to Coach Ron. He will validate what I'm saying. He's a certified Gallup coach, strengths coach. Okay? The person, high performance is a byproduct of engagement, high engagement. When people are excited about their work, they love the people they work with, they love the mission. Hindi lang motivated. Motivated is parang it's fleeting. Engagement is like it's coming from the gut. Like parang I will do this kahit may umattend sa akin o wala, I'm gonna do this. And principles of scaling will always be here. I don't care if it's 32,000 or 3,000 or 3 people, I don't care. So long as there's people who want to listen about principles of scaling, I'm gonna do this. So that's what you call engagement. So high performance is a byproduct of high engagement. Now, okay, question. How do we create high engagement? Kasi yan ang critical diba? We want to perform well. How do we create high engagement, right? So, to give you a context, back in the 1980s, okay, 1990s, early, even up to now, well, park that thought for a while. This is the principle we keep saying here in CEOInsight Asia. The way you see things dictate the way you behave towards them. Tama? If you see something as important, you will take care of it. That will dictate your behavior. If you see something as not really important, it's just like, meh. Diba? Ganon. That's the principle. Okay? How you see things dictate the way you behave towards them. Now, 1980s, 1990s, and even up to now, many people, particularly business people, see businesses as a money-making machine. Okay? Yun ang thinking. Okay? And the tendency for that is you treat the business as a machine. Okay? Problem is, it's filled with people. Right? And our vocabulary defeats us. Ito, kagaya nito, it was written, re-engineering the corporation. Diba? When you look at it from this standpoint, yung thinking na to, okay, ang business is a machine. So, if it's a machine, the people inside, they're not people. They're parts of the machine. Okay? That's the problem. Because that is not true. Ngayon, nakikita na natin yon, diba? Back then, and even up to a point right now, lalo na mga lalaking corporation, they don't care about the feelings of the people. Diba? They really don't care if they feel, sabi nga, huwag mong dalhin yung problema mo sa bahay dito sa office. I mean, up to a point, that's true. But hindi natin maiwasan yun, di ba? I mean, pag problemado ka sa trabaho mo, nadadala mo sa bahay. And vice versa. Pag may problema ka sa pag may problema ka sa bahay, natatamaan kahit pa paano yung trabaho. Because human beings are human beings. But we're not robot. But we can try to control it, contain it, but at the end of the day, it affects us. And most of the time, when we are treated as machine, as robots in an organization, yung emotions are shut off. We bring that anger and frustration at home. Nadadama yung aso, di ba? Yan. So, having said that, progressive companies, however, those high-performing companies, what is their secret? They treat their people as human beings. Okay? So, with that, we now pivot to and as human beings, we pivot now to human psychology, which is si Abraham Maslow, di ba? For a person to be engaged, we have certain needs. Diba? So this is alam nyo na to, pinag-aralan natin to. I'm just gonna review. Okay? These are the fundamental needs of a human being. Okay, so ano yun? Physiological needs. Basic needs, food, clothing, and shelter. Okay, later, i-connect ko to, don't worry. Okay, food, clothing, and shelter. The second is safety needs, protection, security, property, health, that's a need. Okay? Next, love and belonging, diba? Yung community, yan, intimacy, family, sense of connection. The next need is esteem, self-respect, recognition, yan, freedom. And last but not the least is self-actualization. Okay? The fulfillment of a person's what he believes is the best version of himself. Okay? So this is the basic needs of a human being. Now, the higher the needs, yung nami-meet yung needs, the higher the engagement. That's the fact. Okay? So, for example, di ba? Kaya ang hirap na parang mangarap na, oy, one day, we will be able to accomplish this kung nagugutom tayo. Address muna natin yung gutom. Di ba? Mahirap mahirap magkaroon ng sense of recognition, all the applaud in the world. If the people you respect and people you love don't care about you. I mean, I experienced this, no? Let me just share personally, no? May time pa ako, yan. Sabi ko sa asawa ko, I mean, I work with different CEOs. I had the privilege of being able to do that, but it doesn't matter if you don't respect me for who I am. That doesn't mean anything. All the money in the world doesn't matter kung you don't love me. There's no sense of community sa atin. So, it has to be addressed. Before we jump to self-actualization, we have to address first these basic needs. Yes? Kaya pa? Welcome to CEOInsight Asia. Please type yes if you're still engaged. If you're learning something new. Yan. Okay. So now, let's relate it to business. To business, ito ngayon, meron ding certain needs na ina-address. For example, yung physiological needs, compensation. Diba? Next is comfort. Diba? Ay, compensation. May sweldo ba ako rito? Maayos ba yung sweldo ko? And again, it doesn't have to be high. It has to be like matches the expectation of the person for the role. There's a sense of comfort. Okay ba ako rito? Para matetetano ako sa CR. Diba? Next is yung culture. Diba? Kamusta ba ang culture dito? Toxic ba? Or welcoming? Next is yung competence. Nare-recognize ba yung performance ko dito? And last but not the least is culmination. Do I grow? Do I get better? Do I improve as a person here? Okay. So, here's the thing. Where do you think is the strategy falls at? Diba? It falls at the top. Self-actualization. Okay. Problema sa mga companies, gusto kagad dapat ma-execute natin yung strategy. Kailangan magandang execution natin, kailangan magandang strategy natin. Pero hindi naman maayos yung pasweldo. Diba? Toxic naman yung culture. So before we go up, diba, the self-actualization part, address muna natin tong first four. Are we compensating our team well? Do they feel comfortable working with one another? Is the culture here, is the DNA strong? Do they like working here? Do they love working here? Do they get recognized for their contribution before we provide them with growth? So this is the key in creating a scalable organization. Okay? Address these things first. Tama? Please type tama if you are with me. Kagaya ni Coach Ayet. Ayan. Emphasis. Tama. Galit na galit. Okay. So there, before we think about anong strategy, di ba? No wonder mga strategy parang November, strategic planning, the following year, ano nangyari? Wala na. O ulitin na lang natin kung anong ginawa natin. Bakit? Hindi na-execute Bakit? Ni-engage yung mga tao. Bakit? Kung alipustahin natin, kung tingin natin mga robot Diba? Address muna natin ito. Yan. So, para sa mga nanonood, huwag niyo awayin ha. Diba? Enlightened workforce. Yes. So, again, sa part compensation, comfort, it doesn't have to be super high ang salary. Kasi pansin nyo nga, kahit malaki yung sweldo. Pero pagdating sa toxic yung culture, umaalis pa rin. Diba? Kasi, okay, na-solve yung physiological needs ko, safety needs ko, pero yung toxic naman yung culture, why would I stay? Okay, so there. Okay, as we proceed, huwag ka muna mag-set actually dyan if basic need is not satisfied. And yes, Coach Ayet. Ayan. Okay, so with that, let's get practical. Okay, assuming all is well. Okay, assuming okay na tayo dyan, we got those bases covered. How do you create a milestone marker? The first one, vision. Okay, what do we want for our company to look like 5 years from now? And I love si Atria of the Mercs. Now, we were having our executive advisory yesterday and we had this conversation. It stuck with me. And then sabi niya na the mission of the Mercs is to provide reliable and hassle-free online experience. And then she was saying na for our customers to experience that, I need to create system that makes it reliable and hassle-free for the people inside the company. Kasi, di ba, at the end of the day, ito yung sinabi niya, at the end of the day, the company are the employees. I mean, we're the founders, sure, we're the owners, but ang mag-execute naman nito yung mga tao. Diba? And that is so true. That was echoed by Simon Sinek. Diba? Sabi niya, your customers will not love your company until your employees love it first. So here, this question creates that ownership. What do we, not us, not just us, owners, sure, we're owners, but we're partners here. Ganyan nga sa ganyan nga sa language sa Seller Sub. We're SH workmates. Diba? We call one another associates, not employees. Because we're partners, associates. Okay? So what do we want for our company? Because this is not just mine. It's ours. Okay? To look like 5 years, 3 years from now. Not next year. Hindi rin naman 10 years because of the pace. So around 5 years from now. So gather your team and answer this question. What do we want for our company to look like 5 years from now? And having that kind of vision, the next step is translation. Break it down into steps. This is a strategy, you're making it into milestone. Ayan, di ba? Okay, so break it down into steps. That becomes your milestone marker and use VNT format. Okay, so VNT is verb, number, timeline, task, and timeline. Translation. Third is formulation. Design a roadmap, the set of activities that we're going to do to achieve the milestone marker. And then last but not the least is repetition. Break down each year to quarters, break down quarters to months. Yan. So it's a process. Okay, so in summary, yan, milestone marker design summary. Okay, ganito ginagawa natin. First, draft the 5-year plan, break it down into steps. Next, each step represents 1 year. Okay. So next, each year is broken down into 4 quarters. Parang think of it as a 1 year, so 1 game of basketball. May 4 na quarters. Ganon din ang isang taon. May 4 na quarters. Break it down. Next is each quarter must be written in VNT, verb, number, timeline. Yan. So there. All right. I still have time. Yeah, I still have 5 minutes. In closing. So we're talking about operating in excellence. This is one of the values of being part of CEOInsight Asia, is we operate in excellence. And the vision of CEOInsight Asia, I want to make it personal. You know naman, I always close these sessions with a personal tone. And I believe 2 days ago, kumain kami sa mesa. Ayan. And I'm not being mesa, baka naman. we ate sa mesa. And this is my first time na kumain sa mesa. And I was blown away with how they took care of us. Talagang kulang na nga lang, sabi nga ni Tidoy, kulang na, subuan tayo, daddy. Kasi we ordered sinigang and then sabi pa sa akin ng waiter, I think we had 3 waiters around us. And sabi, sir, i-portion na ba namin yung sinigang? So they prepared it. Hinalo pa nila yung sisig tofu. I mean, we were taken care of and like sobrang excellent ng service. And the price is okay compared to the service that we got. And I was blown away, and I was saying, shouldn't this be a surprise? Shouldn't this be the norm? Na ganito pagpapasok ka. Imagine na lang, ipapasok sa lahat ng restaurant na ganun yung service. Yung hindi ka magugulat na walang palpak. Parang gano'n. Di ba, mga government agencies natin, alam mo yun. I mean, except for DFA Alabang, no, when I was renewing my passport, bilis ang process. DFA could have been better, but mostly government agencies, diba, mano-mano pa, parang gano'n. Parang nagugulat ka kapag ang ayos ng service. That's not the vision of CEOInsight Asia. The vision is making excellence a norm. Not perfection, excellence. You can rely on, you get what you pay for in a service. And that is the vision of CEOInsight Asia. And how do we do that? We talked about the strategy last week. We talk about infusing ideas to CEOs, because the fastest way to change an organization is for the leaders who need the change. And right now, I want to acknowledge a milestone marker that we accomplished. So another record-breaking week for us. Last week, we had 38 CEOs and business leaders attending our circles simultaneously every Tuesday. We're growing so fast that we need to expand. So we started every Tuesday lang, 3 lang kami noon, 4 lang kami. And last week, we ended with 47. We're now Mondays to Thursdays. Pick your time. We have business men, business women. We have partners. So that's a milestone for us. Now, ito yung mga nangyayari. Yan. So we're very excited of what the things that are happening. And if you've attended the first part, di ba, nakita niyo naman ang dami ng mga partnerships na nangyayari. Yan. So salamat sa pag-plug. Sign up in our circle meetings. Yan, di ba? Magkakaroon na rin tayo ng CEOInsights Russia. Yan. Kay Miss Mel, no? So a lot of, we have management consultants here. Sila Noni, sila Ferdy. Diba? They do team building. I mean, this is an ecosystem that we're very excited of building. And final thought ko, on July 1, we're gonna bring it to Tagaytay, face-to-face. Diba? The details will be cascaded in your circles, but largely, just show up. Just show up. Everyone's invited, just show up, and bring your A game. So in closing, this is my closing statement for this session. If you believe it's possible, you think too small. We want our vision to be something that we can't do on our own. That forces us to work with one another.